Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the meeting today. I'm sure we'll get a couple more folks jumping in here shortly. But yeah, thanks for being on. So I'm Leah Montgomery. I'm the marketing manager for the Southeast for Mitsubishi Electric. And we're going to start doing a monthly call where we're going to go through some marketing things and just kind of help you guys out with any marketing questions that you might have. You can bring those to these meetings too. And this is our first one. So we're going to be talking about digital presence. We have Matt Eckhart here from Scorpion, and he's going to be walking us through some really good information on that. And just so everybody knows, you are muted, and I do have your cameras off. And you are welcome to put any questions that you have in the chat. I believe you can probably put them in the Q&A section too. But we have probably about 20 minutes of presentation, give or take, and then we'll do questions at the end. At the end, you can feel free to raise your hand if you like, or just put your questions in the chat and we'll address those at the end of the presentation that Matt will be doing here in just a minute. All right, I think, Matt, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Okay, well, I will let you go ahead and take it away.
All right, everybody. I am going to share my screen because I put together little visuals are a great thing for you guys to be able to visualize what we're talking about here. Let me just share. All right, so as Leah described, we're gonna kind of roll through what how to improve your digital presence and Google new generative AI. It's a hot topic these days. I've been covering this a lot because there's a lot of transitions and changes as Google always likes to do. So we like to keep our contractors out ahead of things as things transition and as Google makes its changes. And this is kind of geared towards every level of company, every level of thing. My name is Matt Eckhart. I've been working with contractors for about 10 years now on everything having to do with their digital growth online. The company that I'm currently at is Scorpion. We're a partner with Mitsubishi. So this, again, is just a very high-level overview of things within the digital space and some changes coming out. One of the things that Lee and I both enjoyed was statistics and numbers of why your digital presence is important as a contractor. So many times people don't understand, like, you have about 4 hours of decision-making process for a consumer when they're looking, when their AC goes out, when it's blowing hot air, when the reverse of that, when they're freezing in their homes during the winter months. It becomes a necessity to have a good digital presence in order to win their business. Crazy statistic. Yeah.
Are you sharing your screen? I don't see your screen.
You don't see my screen. Uh-oh. That would be, okay, let me try one more time. It says it's showing on mine. So let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Share. How about now? It should have the like statistics on there.
Yeah, I don't see it. I'm not sure why it's not showing it. I can, is it the same one that you sent me?
It is. I did adjust some slides and take some slides out just for time's sake, but I mean, it's generally speaking the same stuff we talked about.
Okay, I can just
let me try it one more time because it does it differently on every.
Gotcha.
Okay, share screen. Entire screen. This screen. Share. How about now?
No, I don't know why it's not doing it, but I can pull it up and I'll try to
So
share it on mine. Oh,
it lets me walk through and it lets me like select which one I want, and then stop sharing.
yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Right.
Sorry guys, this is the first time we're using Teams for one of these webinars, so we always have fun things happen like this.
Oh yeah. What about now? Can you see it now? Oh, there we go. Hey, Robin said yes.
Yes. Okay.
Can you,
Awesome. Good.
can you see it, Leah? Oh, I'm getting thumbs up, so it looks like we're in the go.
Perfect.
Okay, so yeah, so it becomes an interesting fact. I mean, it's something like 292 million um, searches being done an hour, and yes, you're reading that right. It's per hour. I thought this was like a daily, weekly, monthly stat, but it's actually per hour. And a lot of these are happening in your space in the HVAC. I mean, there's a lot of people just use it. We kind of live in a society now where it becomes like a now. People need service now. They want stuff now. I mean, Amazon obviously created a ginormous business based on in the billions of that wanting of things in the now, the age of urgency as we call it. And over half the time, about 84% of the time, consumers do not have a company in mind when they're initiating that search. Their time frame is they want to make that decision within 4 hours, call business, get a business out there, and do the services that they provide. So for you guys, what I kind of put together today is, and why this came about was as a business unit, I literally went through about 700 of the contractors within the Southern Business Unit, and found a lot of the basics of the Google Business Profile, your websites, SEO, organic searches, and things like that were kind of a theme across the entire 700. So I literally saw 700 websites or more, Google Business Profiles, and things like that. So I thought this would be valuable for anybody to kind of roll through just as a foundational thing. And I saw some great ones. I saw some ones as I usually do in partnerships, as the good, bad, and the ugly. But that's kind of why I wanted this theme for today, because it's going to be important to have this foundation set, and I'll cover all the facts of why we get into what is happening in the future of search as well at the end here. Primarily, you start with your Google Business Profile. It's been called the Google Business Profile. Back in the day, it was Google Plus, and then made a Google My Business. This is your digital storefront. Look at it as that. Like back in the day, people went shopping, they window shopped. This is a window into your business. You have your photos, your company name, access to your website, the type of business you are. Some highlights that I want to take away is that when you guys are, one of the things that I did find was when you're setting up your service area or the areas in which you guys serve, you're allowed to have about 20 different areas within there. If you're in a smaller area, you can define those by zip codes. If you're in a larger, you probably want to get into the cities. And if you're even and service a larger area, you may want to get into those counties. But it's talking through and looking at your serviceable area and really defining within this Google Business Profile of who you guys are, what you guys do, and how you do it differently than everyone else. Again, reviews obviously going to be an important part of that. And then the ability to meet your consumer where they want to meet you, that book that online feature, which depending on if you're with a marketing company or one of the CRMs available out there, I just listed a couple that have that capability, just to give your customers or potential customers an option there. There's actually one of the key points here too that I want to point out is the type of business that you are. It's highlighted here in Assured as HVAC contractor. That's their primary source of their business, but you have the opportunity to put about 10 different as a secondary business. I've seen people putting Mitsubishi. That's a big one. If that's your main product line, you can put that. You can put mini splits specialist. You can put that. So it's really just defining within that. There's about 4,000 different ways you can market your business. So just don't get too much in the weeds and pick the 10 that are most likely to drive you guys more business. Secondary to that, it becomes that visibility. I don't know how many of you have driven around and looked at where you guys show up and where you guys rank, kind of within the map section typically. The slide's not advancing. Hold on. Oh, there we go. And not sure.
Sorry, Matt, I think it's running off of mine, so you can just tell me when to go to the next slide.
Okay, well, there we go. Interesting. Yeah, so one of the things is honestly just checking from time to time where you guys place or show up in those mats. I mean, you guys have, like, I have tools that I can use as a marketing company and a marketer to really kind of define those, something that I'd be happy to kind of go through with anybody if they want to see their own local visibility. But honestly, the best way is to drive around your service area, get out in the field and kind of just see where you guys show up. And because you guys can really tell, like, okay, well, you have a great marketable area. The bottom part is showing like, hey, this person has really good presence and showing up. The top one is really just a bunch of red X's that indicate that that person isn't necessarily showing up. I put some statistics on there. I won't read them to you, but what I find crazy is that businesses who can have a complete business profile and filled out are 7 times more likely to get clicks than those with incomplete profiles. And from visiting pretty much all 700 within the business unit, there is definitely room for improvement on these. I call it pimping out your Google business profile, or however you want to do that, just making you more attractable to consumers as they make their journey to finding a HVAC business. All right, Leah, we're up for the next one. I'm sure you've all noticed it. I'm sure you've all been aware of increases in advertising. Google last year went up about 30% for advertising itself on pay-per-click, just advertising in general. The local service ads or the Google guaranteed, those went up in price. Right now, we're kind of seeing across the boards, and this is direct from Google, about a 275 average cost per lead for majority of HVAC search terms. So it's the age in where we really have to define and go what is considered more so grassroots of your website. Your website needs to convert better. You need to get in front of your audience. You need to tell your story. You really need to be able to tell them why they should choose you, as 84% of these people don't actually have in mind a particular company when it's saying it's your website is out there advertising and working for you 24/7. Go ahead and go to the next one. So what I kind of did is put together like kind of top 5 best practices so far as your website. So many times my conversations revolve around the goals of your website. What do you want your website to accomplish? Who's your audience? What demographic? What at the end of the day is like, are you trying to convert them into customers? Are you trying to educate them? What story are you trying to tell about your business that helps you convert them into potential customers? Then from there, there's some technical side of things. Make sure that your website is easy to use. Make sure they can call you, they can text you, they can chat with you, they can reach you when they've made that decision to finally kind of choose you guys. Like, make it simple. Just like look at a website as like I saw a lot of websites with a lot of content and a lot of pictures and things. It's simpler is better on a website. One, it'll help you guys convert those people and customers when they land there. And 2, it's what people are getting accustomed to, is like the search itself is Google saying, hey, this company here matches your search criteria. So pretty much at the end of the day, it's going to be looking at reviews in that Google business profile, looking at your website, making sure that they want to choose you and invite you into your home. Secondary to that, some of the technical side of things, make sure that your website is workable and looks the same and has a good user experience on any device, from an iPhone to a Galaxy phone to an iPad to a desktop, because you honestly don't know where that person is going to do those search is from. Yes, a lot of companies or a lot of searches are done on mobile devices these days. Like people pull out their phone and say, hey Siri, hey Alexa, hey whatever, Google, what is it that you're searching for and looking for? AC repair near me. Hey, who's the best HVAC contractor in Tallahassee? Whatever that looks like, make sure that you guys have a good mobile first and friendly website, and then it works on any browser as well. As like I put some examples there of Chrome and Firefox and some of the ones, Safari on any Apples. Edge is still usable, and then even like I've seen a lot of traffic and stuff kind of drop off on the newer DuckDuckGos or some of those kind of things. But one of the common questions that I honestly get asked the most of is it SEO dead? You can go ahead and advance next time. Leah, on the next slide.
There we go.
So why this question is important is how much do companies invest? How much do you need to kind of pay attention to SEO? And as long as Google is still doing what Google does and being 90% of all searches online are done through Google, SEO is going to be important. It's not dead. It just becomes changing with the times of how Google looks at things. Content is still king. Return on investments for SEO is still a heavy part of a lot of service-based business. You can, especially with those costs and things being driven up into the $275 per lead, SEO still is a better alternative because about 71% of people are clicking on organic or in those map packs that have to do with your Google My Business account. So there's still ways to win business. It's putting in the time and effort. Content is still king, but it becomes what type of content you guys are kind of putting out in that marketplace. And some of the things that I'll cover next is the top kind of 5 factors of what we typically consider in any marketing company, the top 5 things that drive SEO. Because it's important for you to be able to talk through this and kind of see if you guys are doing the right things and making sure you're moving that needle. Leah, if you want to advance to the next one. So top 5 factors. It's going to be the optimization of the keywords and defining what those keywords are that you guys want to rank for. I have a slide coming up that kind of highlights a bunch of the keywords, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But it becomes like really just having the cornerstone of the business being high quality, engaging, relevant. Go down to the fact of like techs, like what do techs get asked in the field when they're servicing units or they're doing installations? Those type of things are every consumer's kind of asking those, and I think it's an untapped resource because that's content that then translates to how people are putting in their searches to Google. Then there's some technical things of like a sound website, the structure of the website. It needs to load quickly. I mean, people lose a lot of business based on websites not loading at the speed in which consumers are becoming used to. Funny stories on looking for my car was crapping out, so I was looking for a mechanic, and I went through 4 websites that weren't loading, weren't a good user experience. I couldn't find easily what I wanted, and then when I finally found it, I mean, I was able to call the person, schedule online, which I like doing, and that thing. Then you get into kind of technical things of backlinks. I'm not sure how many of you know, and I've heard of what backlinks are. It's still in full force with that, but it becomes quality of those backlinks. It's basically other companies or other relevant within the industry, specifically HVAC, that signal to Google that your content is valuable, or that their content is valuable. Mitsubishi as a whole is a great source for that backlink because they're an industry leader within HVAC. So any linking that you do out to Mitsubishi or content that they provide, and that's kind of something that we do as a marketing company, is look for those things. Also going down to like manufacturers, distributors, your local suppliers, if they have content, influencers, local news channels, BBB, Chamber of Commerce, any type of press releases or press that you guys have on the business, those are great sources because every one of those is a flag or a signal to Google that you're a legit business within the thing. Finally, it's honestly just going to be good user experience. You definitely want to have a good user experience when visiting a website, like that click to call. Be able to click that button and they'll call you. Especially on mobile, if they're on their phone, make it easy for them. Make it easy for them to contact you by filling out a form if that's their mode that they like doing. Because then it really just becomes like what keywords, and that's the next slide, Leah, are important to your business. This is just a quick list in HVAC. This is like literally the top 25. If you talk with any marketing company or thing, that kind of top 25 or so keywords. Some of the things that I tend to talk about is why that's important to your business of defining these, because it can definitely take a roadmap of setting out what's important. So look, from the top of the list, it's very simplified. HVAC near me, heating and cooling. As you kind of go down the list, a lot of those searches become longer. They become forms of sentences. And then something that I'm going to touch into right after this is what that looks like in the future, and this generative AI that is coming in and kind of disrupting what this looks like because of search patterns that people are being tuned to. Tell you a little story. How do people find you? One of my coworkers the other day, we're on our Monday meeting and they're running late. So what happened was their AC, or sorry, their heater went out. They were in Texas, so they had a extreme cold hit, and their heater went out. They were freezing. They had little kids, and so they just pulled out their phone. They're on an Apple, so they go, "Hey Siri, what's I need an HVAC company near me." Pulled up a couple companies. They called the first two. They didn't answer their phone. "Hey Siri, I have an emergency HVAC. Who's available?" Okay, pulled up a different set. Those three people, the first one couldn't get there for a week, so obviously not a solution for them. Second one actually answered. We can be there in 30 minutes, and that's the person and company that won the business. But that search pattern and how they talked about it is important when you're looking at the strategy of like keywords. Yes, they're still important, but kind of go to the next slide. What I kind of want to talk to you guys about is the ways that generative AI is going to kind of change how you look at those keywords and which ones are important to you from a search aspect. Leah, you can run to the next one. So generative AI, what is it? It is the artificial intelligence capable of generating text, images, any other data using generative models, often in response to prompts. So typical search on the left is what it looks like today is, and I just typed in something simple, AC repair, because that's top of the list in keywords. And then on the right, you have the generative response to AC repair, and this is local to me. Just you can kind of put in the thumbs up or anything. How many people have experimented with like a chat GPT or any form of like AI recently since it's become the hot topic? Right. So I'm seeing some thumbs up here, and Google is doing the same. Is like, but it's all still based on data and information. What a lot of the conversations that I'm having evolving around AI is what can it do for my business? What can it? How do I need to? What do I need to pay attention to? How is this? And realize it's all still going back to data and information. So when I talked about content and things still being king and the importance of SEO, it is still very, very important to talk and have those discussions of what your content on your website looks like. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Leah. As a forefront in this AI and generative searches, we're really compacting and looking at how it's going to affect. It's something where there's a movement from consumers of how they do that search. Which HVAC company can fix my heater the fastest? So in my market, here's the opportunities that I was given, but it's also like every area is different. So your content becomes king back to again, but it's how you frame that content or how you talk about it of which HVAC company can fix it the fastest, which is the best HVAC company in my local market. Customers are honestly expecting to see more information available and for Google to provide a better experience to guide them to who is the right person in that market. So you guys looking at your websites or things that are outside that scope of work or the works that, not that it's wasting your time when you create that stuff, but it's being very definitive in what content you're having written, because this is where the searches come in. If they don't have the information and your competitors do or the competition does, those are the people going to be showing up in these searches. It's very mitigated by what is available information that you have on your website in that Google business profile. within your reviews, and it makes it easier for them to find you. Next slide, Leah. I also did another search that kind of how reviews become very foundational. Now Google is going to start calling out your reviews of like specific to like what is the best HVAC company near me. It starts calling attention to content within those reviews of like, I'm not sure if you guys can see the screen, but some say they offer fast service. So it's pulling little snippets from reviews that you guys are currently getting, along with that star rating and number of reviews, where it's kind of a little bit buried before. When someone would ask that, you'd have to do a little bit of digging and find your Google business profile. This puts it right in your consumers' faces. These are the HVAC companies within my market. I know of 3 of those, and the rest I've actually never even heard of, never seen a truck driving around, and I drive around pretty regularly within my market and my area. So it's specifically looking for, if they do a search and it's typed in or said in their phone of those attributes or things, those are tied into what those reviews are currently doing. Go ahead. I did one more, and then I'd like to get into some questions or things that you guys have, and then it's going to be clear and helpful content. And this is just top 3 that I picked within generative vibe, just because they're the most impactful, that things that you guys can kind of take care of or guide a marketing company or anybody towards. And that's really going to be helpful content. People are asking a lot more questions. What are the advantages of a new mini split system? And I did that specifically for Mitsubishi because it's something that people ask, and I see being asked, or I've talked to a lot of the business, or what are the benefits of that? So imagine it's just answering the questions. That's why I kind of related back to like asking your techs what's happening when they step foot in the house, having meetings, have your marketing people, have your GMs and things, bring those back to owners or the people in charge of the marketing, so you can make sure you have a great way for that I found is a huge Q&A section. It's always been important because you can kind of put content there and it kind of just has a home to live in. But with the new generative stuff, it becomes even more so important, because those Q&As asked, guaranteed if one person is asking those, it's going to be a case for the rest of your customers and people really just have those same questions. It's like where there's one person asking one question, there's probably 50 people behind them or more kind of wanting to know that. You can see it kind of shifts a little bit of like what Google can find as information. And on the right side, the great thing about the partnership with Mitsubishi is that they're right there in that first search box, so that they're doing and putting out a lot of great content. So typical consumer, hey, and then they go there, do that find a contractor, and you guys show up in those find a contractor kind of things. Those are the kind of like high level things so far as generative searches. Every screenshot that I showed during this portion was done within that generative. It's still experimental, but if we're looking for timelines from our partnership with Google, they're throwing it out in test markets as we speak. We're seeing a lot of shift in that. We're sending a lot of data to Google with our partnership with them. We're really looking to see this transition mid-year into this, and people are being tuned to that of like, okay, make sure that like us, we're looking toward the future for dealers and things of like, okay, we're making sure that content is very solid, it's very high quality. We're still using the keywords as targeting, but a lot of the Q&A sections are being built out based on how these search patterns and things. We're utilizing a lot of content from Mitsubishi and in the corporate to really just tie in all that messaging. And that's kind of it from a high level. If we want to get into any questions or anything like this, I also have the ability to do an audit on what you guys kind of currently are doing online. So if you want to use that email there, matt.eckhart@scorpion.co, kind of, if you just put in the header audit, and then give me the company name and the area in which you guys serve or anything like that. I'm happy to do an audit for you guys, pack it up, have a meeting. If you want to have an more in-depth conversation about you guys, your business, or anything like that, If you screenshot that, it'll lead directly to a 30-minute meeting with me. We can discuss anything, any further questions that we kind of may or may not get to today. And then from there, if we end up looking to partner together, some of the specials that Lee and I came up with for this first quarter are going to be 50% off of any initial setups and then 20% off of any monthly services.
Yeah, we've had some really great experiences so far with some of our contractors going through Matt and setting up websites and getting some digital advertising going with them. But yeah, this is really great information. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can see any questions might be coming in.
Yeah, because I saw some in chat, but I weren't sure.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. Looks like everybody is, let's see. Yes, we are recording this. So for those of you that asked that, looks like Christina, did you have a question? I see you have your hand raised. Do you want us to unmute you, or were you just responding to one of the questions? Well, if you have your question, just put it in the chat. Maybe a good question. Oh, no questions. Okay, awesome. Maybe a question I would have would be, what if you could do, 2 or 3 things that would really make the biggest difference with your website or your marketing? What would those top? I know you went through a couple of top 5 things, but what are just boil it down to like 2 or 3 things that will make the biggest impact.
Yeah, take care of the Google My Business or the Google Business Profile. It's really underestimated so far as what type of business that can run. I mean, you saw that there is billions of searches being done every hour, or millions of 282 million searches being done within that specific local, because everyone, especially for HVAC companies, is going to want local company to come out there, and those wear that map section, and it gives you that window. So filling out as much of that information as you can, service area, services that you guys provide. There's a Q&A section there that's really a great way for you guys to communicate with those people. Secondary to that is start asking your techs or people in the field who deal with your customers in a direct basis. Find out what questions they're being asked, and then write content, like just have a Q&A on your website that answers those questions. It's surprisingly easy, but obviously and most times overlooked. I would say those are the top 2 things that would move the needle, both organically as well as driving in more leads at the end of the day, is what you guys need to do.
Awesome. That's good. Any other questions that you get a lot, Matt, from contractors that you talk to?
Recently, it's just been like how AI can kind of help their business. And what I say is AI is like very like data driven. It's like, I mean, I don't know if it's people watched like Terminator or they think it's kind of like on its own, but what it really is a data collection agency that really just does it faster than anything out there. How we utilize it for us is helping us determine strategies and plans. It took a multitude of like 10 people in our SEO team can now do the work of 100 people, because they spend more time actually doing the work than they do actually investigating on like what they need to do. It is like there's someone had the question of the near me, as most HVAC companies are not located near their best customers. How do we overcome near me? Because that's a great question, because the near me has to do with 2 things. Within the Google Business Profile, you can do areas served. It's important. You're allowed to put in about 20. You're allowed to put in exactly 20 different options in there. So depending on the like how far away they are from their near me, it's going to be, are you going to want to do that at county level, zip code level, or city level? So you have those 3 options. So it's determining it within your service area, what makes most sense for your business, of like, how far away are you from there? If you're 25, 30 minutes away from a serviceable area, sometimes it gets more complicated. You have to have pages on your website and content, because content is still king, to let Google or these searches know that you service that area. So let's say me, I'm in Santa Clarita. There's a city 20 miles, Valencia. It's going to be like having pages on your website that say Valencia, that you service Valencia. That helps Google recognize that you guys service an area outside your physical area that's associated with that Google business profile.
Did you see the other question about utilizing city pages?
Yeah, should we be utilizing city pages on our website, or is that not a thing? It absolutely is a thing. It's something defining those. And all our strategies, we tend to have those of, like, obviously the more cities you have and the more service you need, they need to be kept up to date with information. So it is providing that, and that's going to help with that local visibility. In those, it's going to become more important when you talk through those in this generative searches, because those are going to be the searches that, hey, like, just think as a consumer, like, what are they typing in? Are they typing in the city, or are they typing in those? So look at that when you're looking at data. Data is always going to remain king. So if you're servicing a particular city, talk about that city on a city page, geo page, anything like that. Break it down into city level is going to help you guys show up in those Google searches. Yep. Someone kind of said it too, is doesn't matter where the business is, only matters where a truck is. We have 50 zip codes in our service location. Exactly. So it becomes like you can market into any market. It just depends on how, like, budgets, honestly, is like, I can market for my business in California to in Florida if I want to pay Google at that cost of $275 per lead across the entire nation. Every market's different, and I say that's where something, Leah, is understand your market, understand who your consumers are, how they go about their customer journey to having someone set foot in your home, because it's honestly, they've been burned, they've had bad experiences out there. So what they're really looking for is a nice, trustworthy, price conscious partner in keeping their home comfortable.
Yep. Oh, here's another question. If we use a county, does that encompass all cities within, or do we need to list those separately?
Okay, so this is another common question that I get is, depends on how your community looks at that. How do people search? Do they search at the county level? Any marketing company has tools that they're just to be able to utilize they're called like keyword planners or searches. So what it becomes of, are people searching at the county level, like HVAC contractor in said county, Los Angeles County in my instance, or are they searching down to that city? In my city is Santa Clarita, so Santa Clarita HVAC. Which one provides more searches? Then you can kind of gear and that was a part that I talked about on one of the slides, was like knowing your market. Is every market's different, and marketing companies will sometimes take the easy way out and do it countywide, when it actually does need to be defined down into that city level. So just again, it's by market. Is if people in your community talk city level, go down to the city. If they talk county level, or have both, and you get the best of both.
Yep.
But doing that research is important.
Yeah, these are really good questions.
Yeah, they're really good, because it has to do with everything we covered of when you set up that Google business profile, when you set up your website, where do you take time and effort and talking with your marketing company or marketing team to really capitalize on the best thing to drive you guys more business on an organic level, because what I covered today was primarily on that organic, just because advertising, that's a whole different can of worms and increasingly getting expensive. So when we're looking at investing and competitiveness in markets, if you have a good solid foundation, you win out long term.
Great. Well, it looks like that's all of our questions. We do have, I'll have our next a marketing call webinar. It's going to be set up for February 15th, and we're going to be going over warranty. We'll have somebody on from JB Warranties, and they're going to be talking to us about how to leverage warranties in your business, and some questions about that. And so we will, I'll be sending out another email for you guys with a link to this recording. And then I'll also send you a link to sign up for that webinar as well, if you'd like to be on that one. I think that's all we have for today. So thanks, Matt, for all that really great information. It's so good for us to keep up with what Google is doing, since they like to change
I'm
their
sure we'll need
stuff.
to have a conversation later in the year when they make some other changes. So
Yes, exactly. So anyways, thanks everybody. Thanks,
thank
Matt.
you.
I hope y'all have a great rest of your day.